Google Pixel 3 was released on October 2018, so now it's over 3 years old. Lineup had two models, Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL. They had different size, screens and battery capacity, and they were identical in all other characteristics, like design, cameras, hardware, and so on. Prices started from $799. It's been 3 years since the release date, and today in 2K22 you can get Pixel 3 under $150. I decided to try that, and today I want to share my impressions and thoughts. I've got a regular Pixel 3. I prefer compact devices. Besides, it's complicated to find out something uglier than the huge notch in Pixel 3 XL. Well, as I started to talk about the visual, let's discuss the design of Pixel 3. It's the last Pixel that had this unique style with two different covers, glassy and matte. I don't count 3A because it's the same but simpler and cheaper. Pixel 4 and 5 have lost their originality in terms of design. Pixel 6 got it back, but not in the same way, and I'm not sure it's worth it. So in general, Pixel 3 looks almost the same as its predecessor. This time bag is made of glass, divided into matte and glossy part, fingerprint sensor in the top, neat logo in the bottom. I really like the bright and contrasty power button, and also the camera model this time is in the better place. Sounds strange. Google placed the camera in Pixel 2 almost in the center of the phone. This time the camera is in its traditional place. The phone is light and thin, and speaking honestly, I do not consider it as an advantage, because it feels too fragile and like a toy, and I prefer to hold heavier and more solid devices in my hand. Backside is not too durable, but at least it doesn't collect dust and fingerprints. I've got pink color, which marketing name is not pink. Actually, two other colors are black and white. Size is perfect for me. Fingerprint sensor on the right place, just under the finger. It's possible to use the phone with one hand, put it in the pocket and so on. I think it would be better for me to have volume buttons on the other side, because now both power button and volume buttons are located on the right, but it's not a big deal. And the speed of the fingerprint sensor is less than I expected. Officially, the Pixel 3 is IP68 water and dust resistant, but I'm not sure that my phone is. I bought it on AliExpress, and a big chance it was refurbished by some handmade Chinese engineer in his garage. Obviously, I decided not to check it out. The screen is good, 5.5 inches AMOLED, 18:9 aspect ratio, Full HD Plus resolution, 2160 to 1080. There are quite big frames above and below the screen, and it seemed outdated in 2K18 already, but I'm okay with that. I believe that clean and concise design is more important, and here it's better than the 3XL screen with its huge but trendy notch. I mean, literally. As far as I remember, after a couple of months from the start of sales, Google has released a software update that hid this notch under the big frame similar to Pixel 3. Also, these huge frames hide stereo speakers. However, I can say the sound is excellent. Just good, no more no less. It's really loud, but quality falls dramatically on max volume level. Back to the screen. I feel it's not bright enough for me, and on sunny days, under the direct sun rays, it was difficult to see something on the screen. Peak display brightness in Pixel 3 is 400, and it's twice lower than current flagships have. Also, I don't like the colors of the screen with default settings. As a result, I've changed the color preset on natural. The image on the screen is less contrasty and colorful, but I prefer it more. So in general, the screen is just good, but again, it depends on competitors to compare with. Pixel 3 can't beat current flagships, but it is fair to compare it with other phones under the $150. And in this case, I believe Pixel screen would be among the best, if not on the first place. I don't want to talk a lot about the hardware because it's the most boring part. Pixel 3 is working on Snapdragon 845, and there are two versions, with 64 or 128 gigs of storage. Chipset was a bit outdated from the start, because the first models with the next Snapdragon, like 855, were launched several months after the Pixel release, and still, it is enough performance for any task and regular everyday use. Probably there can be some issues with the most demanding and newest 3D games, but again, 845 Snapdragon and 4 gigs of RAM covers like 95% of tasks. There are two more or less interesting features in terms of hardware. Firstly, the squeeze sensors, which are located in the bottom part of the phone. Everybody, including me, have already forgotten about this feature, and it's the best proof of its uselessness. By squeezing the phone, user can launch the Google Assistant. You can set the squeeze power, but I didn't find how to change the application to launch. I don't use any assistants at all, so it could be useful for me to launch the camera, for example, by squeezing the phone. But as I couldn't change the app, I didn't use the feature at all. Second feature is the dedicated chipset called Pixel Visual Core. Main purposes are picture and camera related. Faster HDR Plus processing, Super ProRes, Top Shot, Portrait and Night Mode, and so on. I'll talk about the camera a bit later. And one more thing to mention related to hardware is charging coil inside the phone, which means the phone supports wireless charging. And that is a smooth transition to battery life part of the video. Meanwhile, battery life is the biggest issue of the phone. From the very first Pixel, its battery was the weakness, but I did expect something more impressive from the Pixel 3. After all, the battery capacity here is about 3000 mAh. It's not like outstanding numbers. For instance, Google somehow managed to put a 4000 battery in the Pixel 5, which has almost the same size. But still, it's a good average level, more than iPhone 12 has, for example. However, it just doesn't work well. I don't know what the reason is. Maybe it's a 10nm chipset, or maybe it's because of a Chinese battery with unclear background. I don't know. Anyway, as a result, I can see battery percentage dropping literally in real time. Even more, I saw the same while the phone was in standby mode. I turned off any screen activity, including always on display. I turned on power saving mode, but it didn't change anything. Battery in my Pixel 3 is a crap. While the battery was always an issue in every Pixel, the camera was a highlight and the main reason why people love them. What is more, probably this particular model is the most famous and admired for its camera. I guess it happened due to the many software features it has for the first time. Night mode. As far as I remember, this mode appeared in this phone for the first time, and I remember everybody just couldn't believe it is real pictures in the articles and the reviews. Nowadays everybody knows what night mode is, so I just want to mention it works for every camera model in Pixel 3. ProRes. The idea is simple. Pixel 3 can create zoomed pictures using just software without telephoto model or optical zoom. It sounds truly Google-styled, but speaking honestly, the result is not too good. Pictures with X2 zoom are more or less in terms of quality, but anything more looks like just a bunch of pixels. Top shot. After you've pressed a button, the phone makes not just a single shot, but a whole sequence of pictures, and then finds the best one and recommends it to you. And you can change it and choose another one from the sequence anytime. Portrait mode. Again, this feature is available for every camera model, and it works insane. I do believe that Pixel portraits are still the best on the market right now, and it's true for Pixel 3 as well. Speaking of hardware, not as interesting as software. The main camera is still 12 megapixels. It's exactly the same module Pixel 2 had. But Pixel 3 has two selfie cameras, the regular one and the ultra-wide module. And the verdict is quite obvious. The camera is still good in general in 2022 and truly brilliant among the phones below $150. To make it clear, I compare it to current flagship phone, iPhone 13 mini, and Pixel 3 didn't look much worse. There are two issues to mention. The first one is the amount of post-processing. It was always a distinguishing feature of every Pixel, but nowadays it seems too much. Sometimes it helps, for example with this picture of the building shot against the sun. But more often this post-processing makes pictures too bright, too flat and less realistic in general. The second issue is the video quality. It still looks nice if the light is good, but in low light conditions the quality of videos drops dramatically. And the last interesting thing to mention, I needed to get used to the camera app on Pixel 3. The picture you see in the camera app is way worse than the final result. I didn't know that in the beginning, so my first thought was, whoa, the quality of the camera is so bad. But then you do the shot and after a second the final picture seems way better. I don't know the exact reason for that, but I guess the reason is post-processing as well. There are so much post-processing in here, and the influence of it on the final result is so big that the phone just can't do it in real time. So, what is the verdict? The phone is the beast in price segment below $150, unless you're looking for something with good battery life. There are some small issues in here, and I've mentioned them, but in general there are only one huge, significant issue, and it's battery life. And of course the fact that the phone was assembled by an unknown engineer in his garage, somewhere in China. So no warranty, no IP68 water and dust resistance, and the fact that the phone can die in any second. But still, it's great. And don't forget about software updates. My Pixel 3 downloaded and installed Android 12 right after I turned it on for the first time, and it will get all software updates in the future. So $150 and you'll get this awesome camera and all software updates. What can be better? So this is it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, put your likes under this video, and let me remind you that this channel is not just about tech reviews, it is also about my language practice, because English is not my native language. I think it's obvious. I hope I will improve my language skills, and I hope you will help me with that. So feel free to comment, to give me some advices, to help me in any way. Again, thank you for the watching, and see you soon in the next video. Bye.